But the merging of like the technology with just keeping a human voice, a groove, a heart, I love fluid beats. I don't like, I mean, I enjoy dance music too, and electronic is fine. But for me, like, I just love drums so much that I have to hear some kind of living human thing to it. And so, yeah, I think the story just lends itself to like machine and man combining.
What's up, everybody? It's Keefy, and I am back with another GhostCultMag.com interview, and I am super stoked today to be joined by Core Atoms. You might know him best from his current band with Brann Dailor of Mastodon, Arcadea, new album coming out soon, but a long time in the making. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Awesome. Likewise. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. So we have to talk about this new album. I've been jamming it out, and it is really an understatement, but it's mind-blowing. It's wild. And I know that, like, you basically birthed this story. This is a continuation of the first album. The Exodus of Gravity is coming out soon as we record this a few weeks ahead. And just everything about it, the story, the lyrics, the musicianship, the artwork by Skinner on the album cover, it's just a delight. Like music, heavy music, we tend to take ourselves so seriously. And so anything that is just fun and outlandish for the sake of it and just wild and just throwing out stuff to the universe creatively to see what sticks is stuff that really, warms my little black heart. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We did it just for your little black heart.
Hardly. So let's dial it back for a second. This is our first time meeting and talking. How did this project form? I know you go way back with Brann to his pre-Mastodon, pre-Today is the Day Atlanta band Gaylord, and we'll talk about João and how he came in also. How did you guys kind of come together? You know each other a long time, but what is the genesis of this of Arcadea?
Well, to be honest, I am going to take us back just for a second, because I do think the genesis for this current album goes back to pretty much when we first met. We were 18, and we kind of bonded over, all genres, but we just had a crazy curiosity and love of like the weirder the better, or the more, we loved funk, we loved, classical, Stevie Wonder, the gamut. And at 18, we were just like, great, let's jam. And we formed Gaylord, a prog funk band. And I think whenever we get together, that's where I recorded his first singing he's ever done. So he was in an awesome metal band back then too. But I got him, I was like, you've got a great voice. When we're just singing together, you got a great voice. You need to sing on this. So we did this song called Whoopi at Night. It was a love song. Definitely not serious. Yeah. So I think this album was like a chance for us to get back to our roots. We had a bit of time to actually just get together and jam. So I would bike over to Brann's house, and we had the whole setup, and we would just jam songs out. And I go, oh my God, I woke up with this song this morning. You got to hear it. And I'd play it. And sometimes I'd already know what vocals were going to happen. I already knew where it was in this story. Sometimes not. He had a dream one morning when I showed up, and he's like, oh, I had this, Milky Way was pouring through my hands. Oh, perfect. I got it. And I know where it fits in the story. I got this. And I went home, wrote the lyrics, wrote a few more parts to it. It was great. It was a really fun process, but it reminded me of the first time we were jamming back at 18. I bought a guitar at 17. I wasn't in a band before then. My first band was with Brann. So I literally formed my musical language with him. I think both of us to some degree formed our certain aspects of how we play, our humor. We had samples all over our first album, from Shaft to whatever, don't sue us. I don't think that album is even available. I think it would be very hard to find. There was like 50 cassette tapes made. But anyway, so this gave us, just the two of us, a chance to really get into some grooves, and it was just fun. We had a lot more time than the first album. I loved the first album, but that was more Raheem, me, Brann, sort of the three of us at moments. He's constantly on tour. Raheem would be on too. So this was just me. Brann and I had, almost all the time in the world, or at least a little bit, to just do some music. And it was really fun. And towards the end of the recording process is when we brought João in, who's an amazing keyboardist, lives in Brazil. So he flew in lines, the digital age. So we were able to record with him long distance, which was great. And he did some wicked work that I'm just totally pleased. And he tours with Mastodon as their keyboard player. So it all worked out really well. But I look at this as like really my chance to kind of do the music I always do, which is like heavy, funky, proggy, psychedelic. I love that. It's hard to pick one one lane.
Right on. It's thank you for unpacking that. It's such a masterwork, and I love all the synth stuff. And I know you have theremin baked into this, and Moog Taurus pedals, which I grew up loving. Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Rush are the most famous, and Genesis use those a ton. I hear like it's probably not the authentic stuff, but it's like I hear things that remind me of like the Stevie Wonder ARP early 70s classic stuff, and even Parliament, which I'm a huge fan of Clinton and Parliament and their use of synths and Bernie Worrell and stuff like that. So there's so much goodness baked into this. It's not ear candy. It's the bedrock of the album, which I really love, because a lot of nerds that we spend time looking at our navels and looking down at our hands, but this is like a real, like on repeat listens. This is so good and so much fun.
Thank you. It was really fun to make. I enjoy it too. I actually haven't listened to it in a while. Like I finished doing it and I was like, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to wait like everyone till the record comes out and I'm holding it in my hands and I'll put it on and hear it fresh again. But yeah, I mean, I had so much fun doing it. And I will just add, writing songs for your friend who is also one of your favorite living drummers, who's also a great singer, and writing with his voice in mind. And I've always actually, for decades, I've played with the best drummers I know. It's the one instrument. While I've played some drums, I played drums in a hip hop band years ago. I love drums. I can admit I'm not a great drummer. It's not my thing. I love hand percussion, but I'm not a great drummer. Brann's a great drummer, and and writing for that is just it's a thrill. It's a thrill.
Nice.
Anytime you could jam with great artists.
Right. And it's so grooving. Like obviously people who are going to be attracted to this because, of his, name and his reputation as a drummer is so groovy, so many swinging beats. And what I like about this is it shows another side of him. The vocals and the drumming is a whole nother side of him, because I think he's a guy who's very creative in the studio when he's laying down stuff and writing. And it doesn't have like the Mastodon-y, I call it the Fred Flintstone fill from the beginning of the Flintstones when he starts up the car. That's the fill that he's like known for from his earliest days. And I think that's not really evident on here. It's just great drumming, real interesting stuff with tempo and push and pull. And vocally also, like he's become such a dominant singer in Mastodon. It's so good to hear him out of that context, just himself doubling his own vocals, a lot of really fun things.
Agreed. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's great to bring out the best in your friends. I'm not saying he hasn't done great work before, but for me, like it's just it's wonderful. I've worked with a few of my friends over the years, and anytime I can add even like 30 seconds to their record and go, oh, maybe if you just turn this or move this here, or piano, so 2 notes here, and it goes like that, for someone's work. It's like, oh man, that's so wonderful. That's the way I feel about Skinner's art with this record. I think Essie Mae on the last record did the album cover, and I loved her perspective. It was based on all these ideas that we had, but to see someone else interpret your ideas is just a joy, especially if they don't, piss all over it, which they haven't, so.
Right on. I'm a longtime Skinner fan and fanboy, so I have some Skinner stuff here, and any chance I have to pick up something, whether it's a well-known album cover or something else by them, I'm always in it. So yeah, what a wonderful thing. And I don't know if you can tell what a huge nerd I am, but I grew up a real progressive rock little kid. So a lot of knitting needles as wands and a lot of towels as capes in my underoos days, and this just tickles all my funny bones for nerddom. In terms of a concept, did the concept come because it's a follow-up from the previous record, which is, again, unheralded. My hope is that this does so well that the other record gets reissued maybe on a vinyl or something, because I would love for people, if you can get a hold of that and get it repressed or put out for the first time again. That's my hope with this record. And but in terms of this concept, did you have this story just come, the music predated the story, or did the story come first and then it's like, oh, I need some music for this idea?
Yeah. I think they came together at kind of the same time, the right time. But I think it's because I put myself in different modes. Like, I primarily kind of think of myself as like an artist, not necessarily a musician. So like I do a lot of visual art, collages, I do zines, I curate a movie festival. I love film. Sometimes I do animated videos, for Arcadea. But it really was like pretty much like most of my projects. I always write an album that's more or less a story. So like the Gaylord albums were stories. Tsunami was around the time of that big Asian tsunami that killed thousands, and that was on my brain. And I kind of wrote things, around that whole theme. Whatever year happens that I record is kind of what. But I like to take things into a more metaphor than just like, we went to war and we did it this time and this is what, because I think it's more fun, right? And you can digest it a little better. So when like this is kind of, to me, it's very obviously post-COVID story. To some degree, there's silent spores, there's life. I always think about the future, especially when the present seems tenuous. I think about the future a lot. I think that there are some things in nature that will always continue, some forces that are just undeniable so far, gravity being one of them, centrifugal force, and, on and on. There's these things that we pretty much are aware of. And I like to envision, what will this space, this local space in the future be like, and I try to go to like astrophysics and whatever will tell me what the near distant future will be. And then I think, life will persist. It won't be us, but it will. And I think, what a great topic. So there's, that's kind of the first album in its world. I actually, if I get too deep, please feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to
No,
stop.
you're great. This is what I was hoping for.
I just have tons of backstory. I mean,
we love it. I'd love to see this as a graphic novel or a comic book or a short. The music video for Fuzzy Planet was so visually creative and fun. Like, I want all of it. I'm that guy. I'm the audience for this. Pink Floyd, King Crimson, Arcadea. Like, that's where I live. And I want to keep staying here. Don't beam me up yet.
All right. Yeah. Sounds like a good tour, too.
Wouldn't it? King Crimson were randomly making a new record. I always thought they were gone and done. But no, they're in the studio writing a new record and recording. So, wow. We need bands to pick up the mantle. And it can't just be these nerd, I can play a million cool things. I love a story. I think the story and the way to convey a story with music and vocals is eternal. It's not going to die out. Thanks to people like y'all. So thank you.
Thank you, man. Well, thank you. We're fans first, and then we're, players. I think we all have to be, right? So I got to love the music I'm doing to do it. But this story for me, with the merging of organic and synthetic, it's very much like, it's kind of right on the nose. Like I love like the modern technology of being able to mobile record and travel and, be in my kitchen and do some line or something. I recorded theremin in the Adirondack Mountains in New York State, and I just got to travel and do this album at pieces, like samples, and it was really fun. Aside from the initial 12 songs that we did all in one room for 2 days, which was awesome. Then I got to spend time with the touches, the textures, on the record. But the merging of like the technology with just keeping a human voice, a groove, a heart, I love fluid beats. I don't like, I enjoy dance music too, and electronic is fine. But for me, like I just love drums so much that I have to hear some kind of living human thing to it. And so, yeah, I think the story just lends itself to like machine and man combining. I'm an optimist, so I always have to think of things. You know, when I talk about the future of my brother, I have a twin, and I'll tell him things, and he's like, Cordy, that doesn't sound positive at all. It sounds horrible. And I go, no, to me, it's great. You don't understand. Oh, it's beautiful, you know, yeah, whatever life it is, you know, if it carries on some semblance of, it's just wonderful. And then we're all in the universe, you know, but, you know, he's a little more like today and tomorrow and what's, you know, which I understand. But yeah, so I guess those things kind of played into the themes.
Right on. I love that you talked about optimism because it does feel like an optimistic story. A lot of futurism is, baked in some, we are in very dire times. And I love that it's a hopeful feeling album. We've been talking a lot about Ozzy on our other podcasts and his passing and sort of like how he kind of went from Black Sabbath, the most dirgy, dark, evil, scary music conceived to this like very 80s, still kind of same lyrical bent, but a little more hopeful because of major keys and, happier riffs, basically. So I love that this album's full of happy riffs and optimistic storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I also think it's like a great way to deal with the blues sometimes, you know. So yeah. We both Brann and I had a pretty wild couple years in our lives, ups and downs, but I guess everyone has, right? Everyone goes through things. But I always feel like some of the greatest, like metal and classical and jazz, whatever it is, it leaves me feeling happy or like really elated, right? Like there's some stuff that's great to listen to that brings out like, you know, breaking up with someone and you're just like, oh, I got to listen to this song 26 times over and over again because they feel my pain. But for like, for a pick me up, you know, just a pump me up, like get me ready to go. Those songs leave me feeling like, yeah, it is possible that I can fly, you know, and I will fly over there and kick your ass, you know, or whatever it is, you know, like those are my faves. Beethoven has a bunch or a handful anyway of real, I think they're heavy and they sound a little like, ooh, I don't know, it's menacing storm clouds, but he has this like happiness to it as well. I think because his life was probably getting dark.
Yeah. Definitely. Kill me now if I lose my hearing and go insane because I can't hear music or talking anymore. Let's nerd out on some theremin. So you talked about recording the theremin parts in the Adirondacks. Do you use like a classic old school theremin? Do you have more like a build your own, a more modern kit? I remember getting like one of the first Radio Shack build a theremin and my mom was like, why do you want this? I was like, why wouldn't I? Of course I want this. Yeah. So like, what kind of theremin rig do you have and do you have a preference?
Well, so honestly, nothing incredible. But kind of cool. So like, I have a couple now. Oh man, I'm terrible with brand names and stuff. I'm sorry. Like I get gear. As much as I love using things, gearheads hate me because they'll say, what guitar do you have? And I go, I think it's a Gibson. Maybe it's a Fender. Come on. How do you not? You've had it for 10 years. How do you not know? And I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but for instance, my guitar was given to me, one that I played on this record, by a friend who was getting custom guitars made for him. So he had like extras, you know, hey, try out this, try out that. So I got this rare, weird Gibson that I don't think went anywhere, but I love it. So when people ask me, I'm like, I just don't know. The theremins, I'm guessing, are like newer Korg, maybe? Or do they make moves?
They might. Yeah. They might, or they have something that emulates, right? Like something close.
But they're cool. I love them. And, but it's funny. So I have this like fear of getting into new technology too much, because I know I'll look at it and go, oh, there goes 6 months of my life, when I learned how to like video edit, or like any new skill or, certain animations or whatever it is, it's like, oh, nuts, like I just don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. Yeah, I need to hire a little team of workers. But
You need a personal archivist to track all your stuff. I do too.
Drive someone insane. Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot of really cool instruments I got. Oh, so like I flew out to I went to this island off the coast of Maine last fall, and when I met my brother in Rochester, New York, and he had in a box for me a theremin. I'd never owned one before, never saw one before up close. Loved the sound for years, of course, Beach Boys, and before then, loved it. But I went, oh, wow, damn it. Damn, a new instrument to learn, And so I spent the next few weeks, and that's why I took it throughout my vacation and went into the mountains. And it was beautiful. I got to kind of be out in a lake under stars. And for a Starry Messenger, I put some theremin in there. I really try to get into the moods of places or, that setting when I was, getting into it. Music is very visual to me. Like I just really see, I even drew pictures of each song before I really wrote out lyrics and stuff, just one picture of like what it meant to me, what I thought, in this world of New Arcadea, kind of like a storyboard.
Right on. Also, I'm not sure, but I thought I heard some vocoder on here or something like it, where it was like a little affected vocals.
The only thing so on the first record, I do a bunch of singing, but really, throw effects. And this one, all the vocoders, that's the only singing I do. So I'm singing through the keyboard, but yeah, I'm gonna keep it Brann's voice. I really like it. Go, hey Brann, how about we stack one more? Let's try. How about another voice on that? Which is really fun. So
yeah, he has. No more. Right, more and more. He has a voice that's like a trumpet. It's very powerful right out of the gate. At least it feels that way, having seen him in concert and heard a lot of his records as he's become a more prominent lead singer and a drumming lead singer, which is also insane because I can't walk and chew gum, but he can play drums, complicated drums and time signatures and sing lead. But yeah, his voice is like very like a powerful, it's like Coltrane, it's like very powerful. Right out of the gate. It's not like a lot of singers have to like yelp to a note or slowly crescendo up to a key or a note, and he just hits it, which is phenomenal. And there's a lot of that on here. Really strong stuff.
I agree. Yeah. Great vocalist.
Right on. As we wind this down, I do want to ask you a little bit of because you have such a fascinating story, and I'm always interested in Atlanta as a city. I spent some time there. I loved it so much, and there's so much, drastic, disparate types of art that come from there. And it seems like, I don't know if you're originally from there, but it really, it seems to spawn all the, every different type of creativity, artistic, filmmakers, different types of musical artists, and all under a melting pot, and they all seem to influence each other. Everybody I've ever talked to, and even like maybe the wider Savannah also has like just such a great art scene because of the college there, and a lot of bands have come from there. So what is your take on Atlanta in general and like such a melting pot of talents?
Oh, interesting. Do you mind if I tell you a little bit about my hometown, which isn't in Atlanta first?
Sure thing, please do.
So I was born and raised in Rochester, New York, right on the Great Lake, Ontario there. And I was born a week after Brann was in the same city. But we never, so we never met till we were about 18. And he came to my practice space and said, I want to drum for you. And I said, oh, wow, we got a drummer already. He's like, I'm better than that guy. And okay. And he was. And everyone was cool about it. But so flash forward like a few years, he moves to Atlanta. And when my band Gaylord was kind of getting out and touring more, the North and the snow was just keeping us from getting to gigs. It was tough for at least 6 months, So we looked up some places, and I wanted to move to a place that was equally diverse as Rochester, that I wouldn't feel like the only stick out, hey, everyone target me or whatever. I'd rather just be, left alone, more or less, I like to blend in, even though I don't, but, So I looked up economically diverse, culturally, racially. I'm an East Coaster. I'm more familiar with that. But my people are New Englanders, from upper New York, Vermont, the French Canadian, and my mom's side. My dad I never met. So I moved to Atlanta because it looks the best, right? And it was awesome. I loved the culture. Everyone felt like me. I would run into all my neighbors and they're all saying hello and welcome and they want to talk. And it's like, well, actually, I am social when people are nice. I'm very social. And I felt like, wow, people say thank you. And it just blew me away. Seeing brown faces, quite honestly, that were eating healthy and living healthy lifestyles and just doing cool stuff. Where I'm from is like most of America, where there's the city and there's people are forced into these lifestyles, and then the suburbs, and there's more money outside. It's just America. But Atlanta felt very different when I moved here. I moved here with a bike. I bike everywhere. I've biked for 16 years. I haven't driven a car. They built a belt line since I moved here, which is pretty awesome. So I bike around at night. Quite honestly, I write all my lyrics, most of my lyrics on bike rides. So I think of like songs. Eye of Pisces reminds me of a bridge I was on. I think of all these places around Atlanta. Lake of Rust on a new record, I wrote up on a big metal structure, just a piece of artwork that had all these big girdered, rusty things. And I thought, and I just kind of envisioned like a lake of these things. And then I played on them, boom, boom, ba-da-dum, boom, ba-da-da-ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-ba-dum, boom, and I kind of came up with the riff. And I was like, oh, Lake of Rust. Yeah. Anyway, so Atlanta factors a lot into my art, like the blend of city and nature. I love the cemeteries here. I love the Civil War history. I live near the Carter Center. It's like a mile from here. The Presidential Library. I go there all the time. I have a hammock. I listen to bird sounds. I mean, I love the emergent, the nature mixed with culture. If I want to get away, I can. Unlike New York City or somewhere else, I can find pockets of silence, and I love that. And Brann lives here. And I mentioned my dad, never knowing him, but I've since got to meet my dad, which is amazing. Never knew him my whole life, never knew what he looked like or anything. I've met him in the last 5 years. He lived in Atlanta. He lived one block off of the street that I live on now, which is wild, right? So actually, I half my people come from here. I just didn't know it, which is awesome. So yeah, it's been great. I'm kind of a northerner and a southerner, I guess.
Right on. That's probably why it felt like home. Nice work.
Good to know, yeah.
Yeah, man. So thank you for sharing all that with us.
Oh, thank you. And sorry about my long-winded answers.
No, all good, man. I'm usually the long-winded question guy, so it's all good. Just as we wind this down, where's the best place to follow you for all your other non-Arcadea stuff? Is there a website? Where can we buy your zines? Where can we support you?
Well, my zines are sold at a store called The Junkman's Daughter in Little Five Points. And there's some merchandise there, some Arcadia stuff. And Little Five Points will probably have some albums and things. But yeah, I'm not a big social guy, social network stuff. I love watching things on YouTube and everything all the time. But maybe my Instagram, I'm trying to get better at it. Yeah, I'd say, meet me in real life unless you're psycho, and please don't.
If you're crazy, please don't bother me. Yeah, it's all good. You know what? We'll pay close attention. And I've been to Little Five Points in Atlanta, and I know the Junkman's Daughter. So we'll find my way back down there someday, or when I have somebody passing through to get it for me.
Oh, awesome. And Keith, sorry, I was interrupting you. I was curious, what does your shirt say?
Oh, it's a MTV Headbangers Ball shirt. Just picked up the next black shirt on the pile of blank shirts or hangers or whatever, and occasionally some color gets in, but I try not. I try not to. So black shirts and they just form and function. Black music shirts usually.
Yes, no, black it's easy.
Yeah, when there's a better color than black, we'll go there. I like to end all of these with a wild card question, and I know you said you also do some film and some animation. Do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Oh, too many. Actually, my next zine is called Movie Bangers, and I'm doing A to Z, and then even then I'm like, oh, there's like 12 per page, of each letter. It really is for me. I'll tell you, back in the day, I used to have like top three. If you gave me a director, but I would say like for Hitchcock, it's Vertigo, though my list is kind of long with that. For Kubrick, oh yeah, I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Favorite movie of all time. Ooh. For war films, it's Thin Red Line. Maybe Brazilian film, maybe City. No, it's a tough one. Too many. Yeah, I don't know. I can go like De Niro films. I don't know. Scorsese.
What's your favorite De Niro film? De Niro's my guy, and so is Scorsese.
Man. Oh, well, so this isn't my favorite De Niro film, but I was wowed by it, and I was surprised how many people I know didn't watch it. The Flowers.
Oh, yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon. Real life story. Great book. Tragic. And the fact that De Niro learned the language, and he wanted to do most of the movie in that language, but there's this scene where he's going off and he's saying this. He's like, I think, praying over someone, or and he's doing it, and they pull back, and you're pulling slowly through this town, and you see all the people. I'm like, oh man, Scorsese, only Scorsese, you're a great filmmaker, can start a scene on a great actor like that all in this. Oh man. Yeah, shivers. Yeah, De Niro was, even now I think he's amazing, but doesn't get the same, justice or something. I don't know, but people get old.
That's true. Yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon. It's long. You got to be patient, but I think it's very rewarding. I really would like to go back and read the book now, because that's the book that, like, Marty, became obsessed with that book. That's why he wanted to make the movie.
Okay, yeah. But what's your favorite De Niro?
Oh, God. It usually goes back and forth between Goodfellas and Raging Bull. Raging Bull kind of takes place in the Bronx, New York, where I'm from. I have passed through Rochester. It's cold, and it's far. But I'm from New York City originally, and a lot of my people are also New Englanders, so I relate. Very relatable. But probably throw a blanket over Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Casino. Those are my. I loved scary to people. I was like obsessed about Taxi Driver the whole 1990s. It was repressed, and I went to like the Angelica Film Festival to watch it multiple days in a row after work. Like I watched it over and over. I'm sure people were like, what's going on with this guy? Why is he here again?
Thank you. Bernard Herrmann's last soundtrack.
It's so good. Yeah, Bernard Herrmann.
Vertigo, he did the Vertigo soundtrack.
Yep. But, Vertigo's Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that's a great. Goodfellas, honestly, if I were to just look at his character, Jimmy Conway, he is in.
Jimmy the Gent. Yeah, he's unbelievable. His physicality and facial expressions, every good impersonation of De Niro should start with Goodfellas, and just the faces. Yeah. Core Atoms, man, what a delight to talk to you. Thank you so much, man, for everything. Good luck with this record. Arcadea's new record, The Exodus of Gravity, is coming out soon. Congratulations, and thank you so much for hanging out with Ghost Cult, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been great.